Shalom Akim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Wakal Kadesh, Barakatam, dub honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Grim Stone, and to the Akim Akweth, try the falcons of the earth, holding on to their faith in these last days and times, especially the gospel of Mashiach Yahushai. Shalom. So you see this situation as per inflation, going on around the whole world. It's just a sign of the times that the elites are pushing the people to the brink of helplessness. All right, and it's going to lead to chaos. It's going to lead to instability in society. All right, and it's going to be a rough time. All right, it's going to lead to a rough time because our people are not ready for the chaos that's coming upon the face of the earth. All right, so that's why we always got to be prepared and focused. All right, so I get that precept real quick. So there's gonna be from the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 15. It says, "The simple believeth every word." All right, so every single word that the so-called news report brings up, they're always, gobbling it up like it's gospel, like it's the ultimate facts. All right, that's what ignorance does to a lot of people when they don't do their research. They don't understand that the super elites are just messing around with the supply chain, and they're causing production to go low. All right, they're putting so many restrictions out there in the economy, and it's making things horrible. All right, and then they're using the so-called government to pump liquidity into people's pockets. So they have inflation. They say, money chasing fewer goods. That's basically what inflation is. It's a devaluation of one's buying power. The value of one's currency. So they never talk about how they want to fix it. It's always excuses, excuses, excuses. That the government got to raise interest rates and this and that, but never talk about increasing production. What can be done to eliminate all these bottlenecks that's causing production to go, lower and lower and lower. What's causing energy prices to go up? Fuel prices. What's causing it to go up? What's the problem with the importation of goods and all that stuff when there's not a supply, locally and all that? What's going on with the offshoring of production? So it just shows you how diabolical they are. All right. So Proverbs chapter 14, verse 15 says this: "The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going." So the wise are basically preparing themselves, for the collapse of society. All right. They're preparing themselves. All right. And it's going to be a great shaking, the great shaking of one's confidence, right? When the person's confidence is tested and it falls apart, you'd be surprised, how a person's mindset could just be torn apart like a piece of paper. Like, like a piece of toilet tissue. All right. So the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 14 says this: The Lord Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. So no matter how hard they're trying to hold the economy together, it's not going to bring about any stability. It's always confusion, confusion, confusion. Protests and blockades and unnecessary legislation to just make things worse. The whole idea for Build Back Better is just going to create more chaos. They've already dumped so much into the system and they're not going to stop. And that's what the Federal Reserve has been doing. So it says this: neither shall there be any work for Egypt, right? Which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. So that shows you that the economy is going to falter, all right? The economy of America is going to falter. In fact, the world economy is going to go into a tailspin, all right? And that's exactly what people have to look forward to. So when you see these different, you know, budgetary items, for livelihoods of a family, gas, home prices, it could be rent, mortgage, and all that. And then you have groceries and housing costs, housing, home repairs, all the housing costs. And then you have healthcare, childcare. It just shows you how jacked up the system is. All right, that people just gotta be subject to payments. All right, so a lot of people are upset. A lot of these Edomites are upset that the elites are just undermining their efforts to get back up. With all these so-called mandates, using these mandates to crush local economies. They attack these small businesses so hard, that they have to go apply for PPP loans, and there's so much waste and theft in the system and corruption. All right. So the book of Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 8 says this: Babylon is fallen. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. All right. So all these protests and petitioning and legislation they keep trying to put forth is not going to make America any better. All right, because the Lord has decided that the elites are going to tank this system. All right, the elites of this world have to do their job and run America into the ground, because that's exactly what they want to do. They have to enslave the people of the world, and the Lord is going to let them do it, but they're only going to get as far as He decides they will. All right. So the book of Revelation chapter 18 verse 4 says this: And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people. This is the word of the Lord unto the Israelites, the elect of Israel. All right, throughout the four corners of the earth. In fact, those here in America. All right, not Northern America, preaching the gospel on the highways and byways, holding on to the gospel of Mashiach Yahushai. It says, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. All right, so the judgment of Babylon is about to be unleashed, all right, to its fullest. And the Lord is telling us to withdraw our hopes and aspirations from this place, and not to set down anchors, for a better life here. All right, have no hope in unfaithful man, all right, in times of trouble, all right, because the Lord is about to shake the kingdom of Edom, all right. So it says that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, because Babylon has that spirit or how you say, peer pressure, all right. Folks always going to be pressing on you to get this done and get this that, get this, to get along in a system. Pressure from above, pressure from below, and that's how people fall apart. They just give in, and fall out of the truth. The wife pressuring the man, the job pressuring the man, and all that stuff. So when the man's foundation is not stable, he ends up giving up and partake of the corruption. And the Lord doesn't want us to fall apart. So, hey, that's why the Lord's telling us to stand firm in these times of Jacob's trouble. All right. And then verse 5 says, "For her sins have reached unto heaven." All right. The time of her to be judged is already come. All right. So her case is next on the docket for judgment. So that's why the Lord is saying that. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities. All right. So all the iniquities that America has been able to commit and run around the whole world, thumping her chest and all that. The Lord's about to judge her for that, all right? And then verse 6 says this, "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she had filled, fill unto her double." So it's nothing but misery and total desolation that's coming upon America, man. So this is just the beginning. The Lord is going to make these people feel the pain, all right? So the reason why it's making major news is because these Edomites are complaining. They're complaining to their so-called elected officials, and they're upset and they're worried, all right? So our people don't really have any anchor, in Babylon, for a prosperous life. Our hope is in the Lord. All right. So that was the point there. You can't continue to live like this. This is not a life. Just like Micah chapter 2 verse 10 says. All right. I'll read it real quick just to wrap it up. So Micah chapter 2 verse 10 tells you clearly that arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. So we got to be careful, that we do not fall into this chaotic environment, in these last days. This is a great opportunity that we don't want to forsake. So, Baratazar, the Lord strengthens our mind, strengthen our mind to deal with this instability, all this pain and suffering of this world. All right, that we may be found worthy to receive salvation. All right, Shalom.